This video is sponsored by Squarespace. First thing I want to say is this will not contain any Film Red spoilers. If there's anything remotely spoilery, I will not mention it. I will leave it out. But right now, we're going to talk about some of the biggest ideas that Oda had, some that were scrapped and some that were inevitably, I think, going to happen still. Okay, this is major news. Shout out to my guy, as usual, Arthur from the Library of Ohara. And we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. I love this. I love the feeling of news and information in regards to One Piece, because even in the midst of it, it's telling us something without telling us anything. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. We're getting deeper and deeper into the final saga of One Piece, and with the reveal of our friendly neighborhood clown Buggy and him becoming a Yonko, we then ask ourselves, how did this happen? It was actually due to his faithful henchman creating the best ad ever and spreading it out there to the entire world. Damn, I wish I could get a hold of him, but sounds like they really know how to run a business. And I'm sure if they were in our world, they would use today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create your website, connect with your audience, and generate revenue through gated members-only content, manage your members, send email communications, and leverage audience insights all on one easy-to-use platform. Create a community on your Squarespace website with a fully integrated commenting system that supports threaded comments, replies, and likes. Use their powerful blogging tools to categorize, share, and schedule your posts as well. Extend Squarespace's already powerful e-commerce capabilities with Squarespace extensions. These new third-party tools can help you manage inventory, promote products, streamline bookkeeping, reconcile and file sales tax, and ship items across the globe. Display posts from your social profiles on your website, automatically push website content to your favorite social media channels so your followers can share it too. So go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/B.D.A law to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So don't wait, guys, sign up for Squarespace today. This reminds me of back then when we talked about Zoro and his lineage, where Oda comes out and he talks about Zoro, talks about Zoro's father, confirms the guy we saw in Wano is not Zoro's dad, which does tell us that the revelation is going to happen at some point. Oda is aware of it. He's just not ready to reveal it yet. So here we go, guys. Important information and things that were scrapped, because this is some juicy stuff. So first, the original idea around Film Red was going to focus on the identity of the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi before the idea was scrapped. Now, in that context, great idea for scrapping it, because there's no way this should not be talked about in the actual manga. You can't reveal something like this in a movie unless it is fully canon, and One Piece has never done anything like that. So unless they're ready to take that route where they reveal who Joy Boy was, Sun God Nika, and the previous user, because I'm presuming Joy Boy was the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, which Oda's hinting, hey, I was gonna focus on a movie about Joy Boy, or rather the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, because that's the last person to awaken it, we assume. Maybe someone else ate it, but for it to be turned into a movie, it had to be someone significant. Maybe not Joy Boy, maybe somebody really strong Luffy would have to fight. How do you incorporate that? Either way, I'm happy it was scrapped. I'm happy this is something that Oda is pretty much insinuating he will touch on in the future. Next is the Film Red scriptwriter reveals the movie was originally going to be a story involving an academy of Devil Fruit users, where various abilities would result in Luffy time traveling to the past and meeting the young boy who was the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi. So this is continuing just how they were going to make it happen. Time travel. I'm not sure if you guys remember when I talked about Film Red, when we heard of its conception, like a story is coming, One Piece Film Red, I had brought up the idea of time travel. Again, I'm happy they didn't do this because this should be canon material. I had said quickly that Luffy should go back in time and see Shanks from the past, not really interact to disrupt the flow of time, but we can see real-time things like Shanks fighting Mihawk, Shanks and Roger, and it will be canon because we're just looking at the past. We're not disrupting anything. Of course, there'll be moments where the Straw Hats interact that will not be canon, but they would follow him for a little bit and we will see Shanks back then. Happy was scrapped. We will get the previous user of the Gomu Gomu no Mi at some point in the future. I am sure of it. And here you have it. It said when they were thinking on how to integrate Shanks into the One Piece Film Red, there was also the idea to have Luffy time travel to meet Shanks of the past. However, this idea later involved, I don't want to read any more because I feel like that's heading into spoiler territory. I haven't seen Film Red myself, but I want to leave it as pure as possible for you guys. In the past, I apologize. I feel like I have spoiled some stuff. I don't want to do that, right? I want to leave it as clear and pure as possible. But yeah, the time travel thing, hey man, they've been watching B.D.A. That's all I can say. because it's something that I brought up, thought it'd be really interesting. It being scrapped, hey, I get it. Next, there was an idea that Uta would be visiting New Impel Down to comfort the prisoners, but would use her devil fruit to break them out of prison, leading an insurrection in an attempt to take over the world. This was the conception of Uta's character. Listen, we've somewhat seen that done before in the canon story. You'd have to go 10 times bigger to make that interesting in a movie. Personally, I'm happy this was scrapped. Next, this was one of the more interesting ones. They said it was originally going to be a prison break film with the objective of rescuing Mr. Tubonkure from the flying prison New Impel Down. Guys, you can't do this. Reason being, it would have to be canon. You did not trample on the character of someone like Bonkure without it being canon and him being released in the actual canon manga. Bonkure is a fan favorite. You know what? A video that will be coming is things that casual fans don't know, because casual fans that don't read the cover stories, they have no idea that Bonkure is actually still alive. But they'll find out sooner or later. Either way, happy this was scrapped. This is something that should be tackled at some point in the canon story, because come on, who doesn't love Bon Clay? Next, and this is one of the major ones. This idea was to have ENEL make his comeback in the movie. Guys, this idea was scrapped because Oda knows it's canon. Oda knows I cannot do this and not have it be canon. You cannot play around like this. ENEL making his comeback in a movie? Canon movie. This is scrapped because Oda knows we love ENEL, and the fact that this was talked about, it feels like Oda has conversations like we have sometimes behind the scenes where we're talking about this should happen. What if? These are things I'm super excited about, and man, if ENEL was to come back in a movie, that movie would have to be somewhat canon or canon elements, because ENEL is a canon character. I've mentioned this before where they wanted to incorporate Doflamingo and Crocodile, and Oda wanted to add more characters, but the scriptwriter was like, no Doflamingo Crocodile, because it would feel like Stampede, like an all-star movie. People say Film Red is somewhat like an all-star cast just because Shanks is involved, but Stampede was truly just fan service. But the scriptwriter wanted to gamble on a more personal story in Uta and Shanks, and from what I've heard, I think they delivered on most of it. That's what people were saying. Next, they considered making Uta's devil fruit centered around books, trapping her targets inside a book world. And I was like, well, that's cool, but Mondo already has that ability, so it would just be a regurgitation. However, this is not the first time we've seen people in a movie use devil fruit abilities that's similar to someone that's of the canon story. So yeah, it would be weird, but I guess for Film Red, they wanted it to be monumental. Next, they talk about Uta and her image, and the first consideration was for her to be an opera singer. The idea of a country singer with a guitar was also considered, but they eventually settled on a pop idol design. I mean, I think they went the right route. I don't have anything against opera or country, but I just don't listen. I mean, I listen to pop from time to time, but country, and unless it's a little Nas X, I don't. You know what I'm saying? You what? Another idea. Luffy, Law, and Bartolomeo, out of all people, were going to be fighting against several anthropomorphized ships. The director said, well, can we include a small Sunny instead? Oda was amused by the idea, though, and that's how Sunny-kun came to be. No. Okay, this reminds me of Bleach, and if you guys haven't read Bleach, I'm sorry. This isn't really a spoiler, but there's something in Bleach at some point where they're fighting against their Zanpakutos. I don't think that's canon, but I thought that was a really interesting concept where they're going against them, and it reminds me of that, just not as interesting. So, nah. Happy that was scrapped. Oda said something really insightful here, and as the scriptwriter explains, is that he's not referring to anything specific, but Oda told him about how he feels about his world and his world building, and he feels like it's so solid that even introducing something like space would not be enough to make the world building collapse in itself. Okay, this is a very important thing considering just One Piece and how monumental the world building is. A lot of people feel like that's One Piece's best thing. There are a lot of best things about One Piece, but that's the thing that people focus in on because it is so vast and it is so well fleshed out. And we're over 1,000 chapters in, it better be. We've been toward the depths of the water, right? We've been to Fishman Island. And so if we can go beneath the red line, I think we can go out of space. We have fishmen, we have so many different species and races that I will talk about at some point before the next chapter. One Piece and its world building and how it expands, we know about the Automata. We know about Fairy Verth. It's already been expanded upon. We know about the several moons that Professor Clover was somewhat referencing. We've seen the diagram. Going to the moon is not something that people are like, well, that's kind of crazy. Fujitora pulled down meteors from space. So you think it would be crazy if the Sunny somewhat got thrusters that could go to space? No way, the world building is too amazing. It will not collapse in itself. It will actually fit the story very well, and I think they actually will be going to the moon. I think this was clarified saying Oda didn't say anything about this, because Oda probably did say something about it and say, hey, you can't, don't say anything. So yeah, we're going to the moon, boys and girls. And Arthur also comments here where Oda said anything can happen in One Piece, even something like going to space could be possible. So there is limitless potential in the One Piece world, as we knew. This is not some foreign concept. We understood just how important One Piece has been in regards to blowing our expectations out of the water and just what is possible. I think this is the beauty of One Piece, which is sometimes it gets lost because we sometimes focus in too much on the literal when we should be expanding our imagination. And sometimes that's why Oda doesn't even show us things, because he's like, well, just think about what could happen, what did happen, what should happen. And I think that's part of the reason why One Piece has gone on so long, because there's so many gaps of information, we have to fill them in. And sometimes we do a good job, sometimes we do not. That's where theories come from, speculation, predictions. And I think overall, as a One Piece fan, as a One Piece YouTuber, as a One Piece connoisseur, I'm very proud of the community and how far it's come in regards to predicting things, seeing things happen before they do. We're very good at talking about One Piece. And even as good as we are, we still suck based on how unpredictable Oda can be. So there's limitless potential, literally and figuratively. But yeah, Luffy being a time-traveling zombie is not far-fetched based on Oda and some of the ideas for Film Red. What was the most interesting idea you think from this entire conceptual phase in regards to Film Red? For me, it's probably ENEL, just because of how much I want ENEL to come back. Man, can you imagine? What's your favorite though? Leave it below. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at Brago.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, I start doubting me, I felt lost.